Alright, I'm going to try to lay this ball out on the back of the stave here. What I do is just have this little loop like this, that in there. What I do is take the rope, the string, and put it back through the loop, and then you make a big loop. Put that big loop over the wood. It's like a pair of extra hands. Tighten it up and you can bring it right over the top like that. And then we'll put it right where you want it on this end. I'm thinking I'm going to be wanting it right there. And then I'll go hang it off the other side and mark that line. So that's how we do it now. Alright, here's where I got thin with the chainsaw. And it's a bummer because that determines how wide this is here. I have to go from the middle line of the bow, measure across, and go here to keep it even. And it kind of says, okay, that's how it has to be. If I would have left it a little bit wider, I'd have more room to play in here. But with this like this, I have to be exact, and I can't take any more wood off right here. Kind of a pain in the butt. That's why I try to stay away from power tools. Sometimes they're just too convenient. Alright, when I lay these bows out, I like to get a center line first. Then I'll go through and I'll measure and I'll find the center. Well, I know this is, I think it said 76. So I get my center line that's 38 at 38 inches. And then I'll after you decide which limb you want to use for your top limb. That top limb is going to be a little bit longer. Bottom limb is going to be shorter, so you want the more sturdy limb on the bottom in most cases. And that seems like it's this limb, so I'll put my mark. And 1 inch up, I'm going to go with this bow. And that's going to be the top of the handle right there. And then I'll go 3.5 inches down this way, and there's the bottom of the handle. So 4.5 inches, that's plenty for my hand. Actually, no, I'm gonna go to 5 inches here. And that's the 5 inches. Now on this limb had the thin spot, and I can't see it real well. Take that and tip it a little bit. This had the thin spot here, which is making, it's telling me that this part of the limb right here only can be so wide, and it turns out it's just 1 inch wide. So now I'll take and I'll measure it. Looks like that 1 inch wide area is at 14 and 5/8, it looks like here. So to balance out the bowl, make sure I'll go to the other side, and I'll make sure that limb at 14 and 5/8 is the same width as this, as well as the tip. So then they'll both be the same width. And then after that, after I get that done, I'm gonna lay out the handle better, and then get my taper lines that'll blend into the handle on these limbs. Okay, so it was 14 and 5/8. So I'll lay this on there. 14 and 5 is right there. And now I know that I can go 1/2 inch that way and 1/2 inch this way. And that's how wide this limb is going to be right there. I originally wanted this to be a wider bow, but I messed up using the power tools. So that's why I think power tools are a little overrated. But now I'll lay out this, draw the lines, I'll lay out the tip width, connect the lines with these, and then finish out that handle, drawing out the handle, and then I'll get the taper on these bow limbs. Okay, here's the handle laid out a little bit here. It's not done yet. There's the center line. Inch higher is the top of the handle. There's the bottom of the handle. I usually like my handle to be about 1.5 inches wide. So what I'll do here is I'll lay this nice little ruler on here, and I'll mark out 3/4 on each side. It's nice that it bends like that. Stiff one, it would be harder to get your 3/4 measurement. So I take that and I connect the dots there, and then that will be my handle area. And then I usually like to make my transitions into the limbs from the handle. Here's the handle. Usually like to make my transitions 1.5 inches, so I'll mark 1.5 inches out, and then that'll be where the thin handle comes into the wider limb before it tapers down into those thinner tips. So that's what I'll be doing now. 1.5 inches. I gotta figure out how wide I want my limbs. On this side I have a full 2.25 inches, and this side I have, I have about 1 3/4. So we'll make the limbs 1 3/4 so I can match it on this side, and then I'll taper down from 1 3/4 here to this inch wide here at this limb, and then I'll have the bow laid out. I'll copy it on the other side. Yeah, there's the handle right there. And it looks like the way it's laid out, this side's got really thin, so basically the widest part of this bow is going to be the limb. And you can see right there, transfers right from the limb and starts tapering down to the tips down there. So basically it's going to be a thin pyramid bow. And I heard this wood is tension sensitive, so I think I'm going to back it with some rawhide probably. So I'll finish this limb up, and then I'll go to the jigsaw, or the bandsaw, and cut it out. Blowing sockets, or breakers, I mean. Okay, try this again, see if I can do without blowing any breakers. Safety glasses on. Alright, now that I got my safety glasses on, I can do it. Safety first. Okay, it's starting to look like a bow a little bit now. With the front profile, I'm not sure what you can all see here, I'm a little close. But I got it down basically where I got a 1/8 to a 1/16 outside the lines on here. And I'll come back with a rasp and go right to the line all along here, and then that'll allow me to probably start taking some layers off the back here until I get to where I'll have a transition in the limb like I want. So that's the next step, rasp these sides onto the line, and I'll come back and maybe take a little bit of this off too. I don't think I need quite that much, but I'm going to be coming down a few layers on the back here, so we'll see. Better to leave it and have enough than take it off and not. So that's what I'll be doing now. For this part, I'd like to use my farrier's rasp, and it has a real aggressive side one side and a real fine side on the other. You get it in any hardware store or farm store. It's for horses' hoofs is what it is. But that's what I like to use to bring this down to the line. So that's what I've been doing so far. I got this done and most of the tips done. It's got a little high spot here. I'm going to put a little angle like this just to help me get closer to the line faster. It'll make the bow a little bit trapped, but I think it's going to be okay because I'm going to be backing with rawhide. So that'll add a lot of strength to the back.